All right, hello and welcome back, Worldwide Wolves. And the preseason has just ended just minutes ago. Exhilarating. The Wolves, I think, won one of those games. Correct me if they won one game, right?
No, they won two. They won the first one, and they won the game against the Chinese team.
Okay, well, all right. Right. Well, anyways, we're here to talk about preseason, kind of build out a rotation, but also just kind of give our takes on the roster and, up or down based on the preseason. But I'm Cooper Carlson. I used to host Timberwolves daily after every game. Stopped doing that, and now I'm here. And then we got Jake Painting, host of the Howls and Growls YouTube channel. Jake, how you doing? Shout out that channel.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, Howls and Growls. Search it on YouTube. Go on my Twitter. You'll find it. Just ramping up into the season now. So there'll be a video out probably by the time that people listen to this. And yeah, videos after every game, videos between games. Yeah, the same kind of thing as last season. Just hoping to get more volume this year, and I'm excited. We're almost there, almost at the regular season.
Yes, it's just a handful of days away. This is going to go up on Saturday morning, I think. So yeah, should be coming up very quick. But what we're going to be doing today is, as if you're on YouTube here watching, you're like, what's the giant thing on the screen? We're going to build out a rotation. There's 240 minutes. We're going to allot them accordingly. We did this right when we started this pod, and it was interesting. We had Dillingham getting 25 minutes a game, and that will be decreasing today now that we've seen some basketball. But yeah, it should be fun. It's just kind of a way to touch on every single player after the preseason games. But overall, I guess just preseason. Hard to take anything super important away from it. I hate preseason for really any sport. Baseball, they do it for a month. They do like 30 games. So that's worse. Football is like 3, but this, man, it's just preseason games for every sport are just a slog to watch. And I'm glad we're into real basketball coming up, so that should be fun. But hey, you got any big thoughts on that before we get into this?
Yeah, not really. Like you said, it's kind of been a drag watching this preseason. We were speaking before we went live, and it's even more than usual preseasons. That feels like it's been a drag. Like they had that weird game against Guangzhou, I think, and then they had this game obviously on the back to back against Philly. So we didn't get to see a lot of things to really dig our claws into. Even the first game, Conley and Ant and Randall didn't play, so we really didn't get to see a lot of things. And I mean, even in a normal preseason, you don't get to see a lot of things. So I'm happy it's over. I'm ready for the real stuff to start. And it's been and the first few games is a nice little taste to get back into the swing of things, and then it gets old quick.
Yeah, I agree with that. And before we get into the 10 guys I have listed here, actually, maybe we should just touch on a few that are honorable mentions or just maybe that I left out. Starting with, let's say, Bones Highland. He started off the preseason, he had a solid start, but overall, I think his role is extremely dependent on just, I mean, it's hard to see him earning minutes because I have a hard time seeing Dillingham even earning minutes, and it's just heavily Rob dependent. If Rob's getting DNPs, maybe they give Bones a chance, but to me, he's more of an emergency like 4th point guard, even with a solid preseason. So, you have any qualms with him? You think he needs a spot in this 10-man that's probably not even going to be a 10-man when the season gets going?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think he had a pretty good preseason. Bones, like obviously, it kind of started hot and tailed off a little bit towards the middle, and then played okay today. Played all right in the last game, but yeah, he's not going to get minutes. I think you can kind of tell even in these preseason rotations where Finch stands with some of these guys, and I think that Bones is more of that 11th, 12th kind of man. So, I mean, I think he's kind of good insurance if you do have 1 or 2 point guard injuries or 1 or 2 injuries in those guard spots. So, yeah, an exciting player, but the kind of player who you probably don't want to see if everything's going right.
Yeah, certainly. And then another one. Oh, geez, another voice crack. That's embarrassing. Anyways, whatever.
It's all right. We're all still going through puberty a little bit.
Speaking of puberty, 18-year-old Johan Berenger. Man, that's good.
What a
stuff.
segue.
Thanks. Yep, I actually set that up. No, Berenger, maybe the most exciting player just in terms of, rookie. It's always fun to watch in the preseason, and someone that could get minutes here and there, but again, in the same boat. I think he's very Rudy Gobert dependent. Say Rudy Gobert misses
Hmm.
any, significant amount of time, that will open up a slot for Baron J. But even if he doesn't, they're gonna just slide Nas into the center role, probably play a lot more small ball. But overall, I was very impressed with him in preseason. He can definitely play with NBA players. Maybe not Joel Embiid as we saw for most of tonight, but he can hang, and he's well ahead of schedule, I think, from where the Wolves drafted him or like what they expected at this point. But not a rotation player at this minute. Definitely a prospect I'm looking forward to watching progress over the next couple of years here, especially as
Yeah,
Gobert's winding down.
yeah. I mean, I thought he had kind of the preseason you would expect from the way they've been talking about him. Maybe when he got drafted, I wouldn't have expected him to have a preseason like this. But the way they've been talking about him, they've really been kind of bigging him up that he's going to be further ahead of schedule than they thought. And I thought he's been exactly that. You can see the kinks in his game, right? Like you can see that he's still not strong enough. You can still see that he still doesn't have the defensive kind of IQ
Yeah,
to play in these NBA schemes and to deal with these NBA players. But then when you get him in these individual moments when it's just like instinct and talent, you can see that like I think this dude's going to be a monster. Like I think he's just going to be the way he runs the floor, the way he moves. When he does get that nous and the instincts that he probably has these instincts, but they just need to be sharpened in an NBA format. I think he's just going to be insanely good. And we've all been high on him, but I don't think I've been, the highest on him. Like I think I've always thought, but I just over the preseason, there's just little things that he does where I'm like, man, when he gets this all sorted out, he's going to be really, really good. Like his numbers were good. He's not going to be a numbers guy, but I think you can see how it works. You can see his hands in transition, in traffic. The way he can kind of dovetail with a point guard like he was with Dillingham for a lot of the preseason. Like I thought today, especially against Philly, he had some really good offensive moments. He had some really great defensive moments, even though he was going up against Embiid, who's obviously just like triple his size
right.
and obviously triple his skill level at least. So what did he have today? So 13, 3 boards, 3 blocks, and it just felt like when he was running the floor, this team kind of has like a future identity that he's definitely centered around. So, yeah, I think this dude's going to be a monster if he can put it all together.
Yeah, when he's out there playing with other, say, rookies or just guys that are on the fringe of a roster, like
Mm-hmm.
Bones Highland types, he's easily one of the more dominant players out there, and that's very encouraging for an 18-year-old raw basketball player. But one more player that I think has gotten a little bit of attention that we really haven't even mentioned once, Johnny Juzang. Any big thoughts on the 3-point specialist here?
No, not really. Like,
I
I think
had
he
to
had,
ask. I don't know.
yeah, I think he had a really good preseason. To be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah, yeah.
like, you can't take that away from him. But it's a
He was
deep
the big
roster.
offseason addition.
Yeah, yeah. It's a deep roster. He's not going to make the roster. Oh, he might make the roster, but he's not going to
Yeah,
be in the rotation if he does make the roster. And I think just from a macro level, it's nice to see a guy like that who's clearly fighting for his NBA life kind of come in and put some good minutes in on a good team. And if it's not with Minnesota, hopefully that is some tape that he put down for other teams to see, and kind of get him a two-way or get him some contract somewhere if it's not with Minnesota. So yeah, I mean, I also think a guy. I mean, if we're talking about kind of forgotten guys, I think Leonard Miller only played
true.
3 games. Was it the last 3 games? The thing about Leonard Miller that is just weird is that I think all of us agree that he doesn't he's not ready to play NBA, or maybe he won't ever be ready. He's not going to get minutes on this team, but every single time he plays, he's productive every single time. It's not productive in the way where you can see the vision, like with
Right.
Baron J,
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
or yeah, but this was, I would say, a pretty close to a full Philly roster. Like, I mean, Paul George wasn't out there, but he kind of never is. But apart from that, I feel like this is pretty close to their opening night rotation. Edgecombe played 34 minutes. Maxi played 30. Embiid obviously only played 18, but he's just coming back from injury. Quentin Grimes played 26. Like this is an NBA team that they played, and he had 21, 5, and 3 and 2 steals, like 7 of 10 from the floor. He's the same. He does it every single time he's on the court. Preseason, summer league, garbage time. Anytime Leonard Miller is on the court, he scores and he rebounds and he produces. And like I said, I'm not saying play Leonard Miller. I'm saying that like it's just this weird kind of paradox where you don't feel like he's an NBA player, but like that's a team that, and it felt like Philly were trying as well. Like this was a team who was getting ready for the regular season in a week with their full rotation, and Leonard Miller scored 21 against them, So it's just a weird thing. I think, he started that game. He didn't start. He came off the bench that game in Naz Reid's position against Chicago. So I think that maybe the coaching staff might be a little bit higher on him than us as a fan base are. And it's probably because he is, still a young player. He's still super young for how long he's been on the team. Like I think he might be 22, which feels like he's been around forever, kind of. So, I'm not, on my soapbox demanding Leonard Miller minutes, but I think it's worth mentioning that he just keeps kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, bold prediction. He's got Boston Celtics in the future. If I know one thing about these Timberwolves. But after 11 minutes here, we'll finally get to the chart that's just been sitting on the screen here. We're, good stuff.
That first, that was for the podcast listeners. That first bit.
Yeah, the rest of it's for the YouTube people. Do we want to do? We didn't discuss this. Do we want to do this going 1 to 10, or just like select players we want to talk about? What do we think?
I think we should pencil in the locks early, because there's no I don't think we learn anything from.
Yeah.
So, we learn little things in preseason. We're not going to learn anything minutes wise. So I think you can give Anthony Edwards his 36. Like that's just what he'll play. It might be higher than that. It might be a little lower, but I think most games he's going to get 36 to 38 minutes.
Yep, trying to run this sheet too. So bear with me, everyone on the screen. It's gonna be all over the place, but we're gonna nail it.
And I think if we want to just touch on a couple of things with Ant, obviously it's the mid-range. Like again, shameless plug. My video will be about Ant in the mid-range, Ant in the post-game. So check out House and Growls for that. But a few kind of dot points I have on that, I guess, is I like it. I like changing the geometry of the floor for some of his scoring possessions. I don't want him to live in the mid-range like none of us do. But I think that's clearly something to note from preseason, that he's been working on that. He's, I think, got more moves. I don't think it's been super efficient, but I think you can see the vision of what he's trying to do, and how he's trying to kind of find more ways to score that isn't just barrel through, gap helpers and low man defenders and just constantly torpedo to the rim or shoot pull-up threes, because that was his game. And like for a guy who really, reducing it to saying he had two things in his bag is wrong, but they were the two ways that he could score. He would get to the rim through 5 defenders, or he would shoot a pull-up 3 over 1 or 2 defenders. So I like diversifying his game in that way. Do you feel it? Because it's a hot subject, I feel like. So do you feel that different? Like,
I think at the start of the season, he's going to really emphasize mid-range and maybe transition scoring as well. I'm curious, after the first, let's say 10, like what do the tendencies look like after the first 10 games? If it's, say, not falling as much as he'd like, does he revert quickly back to just the 3-point and rim running, or does he, say, stick with, what he worked on all offseason? And if there's one thing that we've seen from him, it's that he's going to develop this skill in the offseason. But at the same time, there could just be a stagnant, or just like it might not click right away. So the most curious thing for me is just what it looks like as the season progresses for Anthony Edwards, because the mid-range, it's extremely valuable. We saw it with the MVP last year. So super curious to see what it looks like. But he's definitely emphasizing it right now in preseason. Like he shot 9 for 19 and like didn't have great shooting percentages. I don't care. It's more about what kind of shots he's taking. And yeah, he seems to be diversifying it a bit, just to curious what it looks like going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's all about finding the right balance, isn't it? Because like you can't shoot more mid-range shots and shoot more at the rim and shoot more from three. Like there is at some point there's a limit to how many times Anthony Edwards can shoot the ball. So
And if it
um,
falls, he'll keep doing it. But
yeah, and Chris Finch doesn't really like mid-range shots, so it's not going to be something that he's just allowed to miss constantly all season. But I do think there has to also be some leeway, almost like we give with someone like Rob Dillingham, to be like he is going to play
yeah,
bad games. Like if you want Anthony Edwards to have this in his bag, you do have to give him some leeway for it to not be efficient sometimes, and because we give him the leeway from three when he has a 2 of 12 night, or we give him leeway at the rim when he has a 5 of 13 night from the rim. Like those things will happen, but it's about finding the balance, and obviously it needs to be efficient. Like it doesn't need to be Kevin Durant, but it also can't be
yeah,
Anthony Edwards of last season. So like that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. And I thought his passing, I mean, I think it's worth just noting that his passing in
yes,
that Chicago game was insanely good. And a lot of that came from working into the mid range area and kind of, pulling defenders toward him from those in between areas, and then finding passes and getting the defense into rotation, or finding Gobert for, a missed layup. So, um,
yeah. And that kind of falls with me in the same boat of like, how long do we see him do that? Last year in the preseason, we saw a lot of ball
mhm,
movement, and it got very stagnant as the season began. So with Anthony Edwards, he was, I thought, really great at playmaking this preseason. When we get to the regular games and Rudy Gobert continues to drop the ball, or they're losing by 5 points, and Anthony Edwards just goes, "I'm going to shoot this instead of pass it," which
yeah,
cool, pretty much. But like you know, as the season goes on, can he consistently maintain that, or will it be kind of a repeat of last year where the ball movement just kind of slows down and he shoots the ball, which
yeah.
not the worst thing in the world, but you know it's good to develop that playmaking skill and hopefully bring it into the regular season as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the most important thing is that he keeps doing it at least to other players as well. Like I thought him and Julius had a couple of really nice pick
Yeah,
and roll possessions in that game. They ran a few actions where it would kind of Ant would come off a pin down from Julius and then hit the roll man. So like I agree. I'm not sure how long the leash is that he has on the Gobert passing, because it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us watching it. It must
yeah.
be frustrating for a guy who's out there trying to win and trying to obviously get like prove himself to be a really great playmaker. To have a guy missing layups and dunks, but I think if you can, like, it needs to keep going with Gobert, but also, if you're finding shooters, if you're finding Randall, like that's a way you can keep being a good
Yeah.
playmaker, even if you sour on the Gobert part a little bit.
Yeah, he had a couple to Nas, and it's not nothing that there was a few times during the offseason where Anthony Edwards would specifically mention that Baron J would catch a lot of the lobs in practice and stuff. Oh, really?
Yeah,
So,
there was a few in this Philly game where I was like, "Oh, that's weird." There was one.
yep.
There was a like a pocket pass that Rob threw to him in traffic where he caught it. Took a dribble layup, and I was like, "I didn't know big guys could do that."
It's revolutionary, but I say we now will move on to the second biggest lock here, and that is Julius Randle.
Yeah,
We know what he's going to be playing. Last year it was at 32 minutes,
yeah, that's what that in my
about
head
the
I had
same.
about,
Yeah,
yeah, 32. Like I think that's kind of the median. Like the same as Ant, you could get 34, you could get
yep.
38. I think Randall, you could get 30, you could get 35. So 32 feels safe.
With Randall, for me, he's the player I've probably had the biggest like turn on this entire offseason.
Hmm.
At
Hmm.
the beginning of the offseason, I was pretty much team. I think they're gonna try to move on from him, and then they didn't, and I kind of didn't get it because bringing Nas Reed back as well. But at this point, I'm kind of all in on the Julius Randle train. Really, for like when playoffs came last year, I was also at that point you're all in. You're not gonna move him or anything, so why not? And then the offseason came around, and I switched back a little bit. But I mean, at this point, I think he's gonna have a damn good season, like all-star level season. He seems really settled in, seems really motivated and happy, and he's a really good player. Like we saw it for the
Yeah.
latter half of last year after the injury. So, nothing really of note for the preseason. I mean, especially even less than Anthony Edwards, I guess. There's not a ton you're even really
Hmm.
watching for from Julius Randle, just health and
Yeah.
what he does out there. So
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
really looking forward to it, man.
I don't have any kind of hot takes or
Yeah.
just like anything that we saw in the preseason that we didn't expect to see. I think he just has settled into being a second option in a pretty impressive way, which really has been the thing with him. He's always been one of those players that feels like too much. There's too much Randall if it's the first option, but then you don't get the full effort and kind of intensity of Randall if he's a second option. But I do think he's found that balance where he's the second option. I think Ant is the kind of player who is willing to defer to him on possessions, even if it's not those two working together. It's
Yeah,
more just, the Ant will go stand in the corner for a possession so Julius can do his thing.
gives
So
Ant a
that's
break.
yeah, exactly. So I think I agree with you pretty much completely there. That we've never been like massive Julius Randle stands, but I'm also the kind of person who just likes to kind of let things develop as well. If he's playing well, then I'm not going to kind of find reasons to pick at him for. So I think for now, Randall, the 32 minutes is definitely there. The second option status is definitely there, and it seems like the comfortability is definitely there as well for him. So I'm excited to see kind of if he can keep that going into the regular season.
Yep, it's clear who the best player is, and I think Julius Randle knows that as well. So,
And I don't think he was. It's not like he got here and he wanted to be the best player, but I don't think he knew how to be the second best
yeah,
player.
and it's not like I don't think the players on the Wolves really emphasized him being. I mean, they literally said, "Play, run your style, and we'll,
Yeah.
fit in around you," or so. Like,
And now
and
I think there's no. It feels like he's not kind of pressing to be like, where am I going to get my touches, or where am I going to be able to do the Julius Randle things? Like, I think he knows now with that comfortability in this system that he will get, like Chris Finch will get him his touches. The team will get him his touches. He'll be able to score, 18 to 20 points a night on average. And, that's going to be there for him. And then he can also, if he leans into that, they're also going to win games. So yeah, I'm excited to see kind of if he can not only be comfortable in that role, but maybe even grow and become even better at that role going forward. And especially if he's hitting three, like catch and shoot threes are definitely something I want to see from Randall in the season. He shot 40% in the preseason, so that looks like it's there for now. So yeah, I'm happy with the Randall experience this preseason.
yeah, for sure. And then we'll move on. I guess the third biggest lock. I guess Jaden McDaniels, in my opinion. My voice all over the place. Anyways, Jaden McDaniels.
It's an emotional time of the year. The
Yes.
preseason's ending.
It's finally over. Oh my god. All right. McDaniels last year played 32 as well. And as we go through this, you're going to see quickly that we run out of minutes, but we'll figure it all out. Jaden McDaniels, 32 minutes last year. It's hard to take anything away from him this year. Are we sitting at 32 again?
I'm muted. Yeah, I think we are. Like, Jaden is always kind of, it's volatile because he can be foul prone. I thought he got a hold of that last
Right.
season
Yep.
pretty well, but he's obviously super important both on the ball. I've another thing that kind of dovetails with Ant there is that he's been playing off the ball defensively a lot in the preseason, and Ant's been defending the ball. And I think Ant has been really good on the ball, and surprisingly, Jaden's kind of been a bit slow off the ball. But I mean, Jaden's a slow starter. I hope that it's not slow as in we're
Yeah.
17 games into the regular season and it's still slow, but he's always been bad in the preseason. Like, he's just one of
Yep.
those guys that take it, the engine takes a little while to start running. So, and he just had a baby. He's probably slept, 4 hours a night for the past 3 weeks. So, I think the Jaden experience is the Jaden experience. I hope it's better this season. You know me, like I love the thought of Jaden getting more touches, scoring more points, but whether he does or he doesn't, he's still going to get 32 minutes, and that's what you get from his defense.
Yeah, I would say he's the best defender on the team as Gobert continues to go down and Jalen Clark continues to go up, but still not in a solidified role here. And yeah, the off the ball defense part, I'm not encouraged by what we saw, but like I don't care about what we saw in the preseason,
Yeah,
I should say.
exactly. I love I
Yeah.
love I love the idea. Like,
Yep.
I think
Yep.
I
Putting
think if
Ant
you
on ball.
want, yeah, and if you want really weaponize Jaden defensively, he can still go on the ball whenever he needs to.
Yeah.
Like whenever it's Devin Booker or Jamal Murray or someone that he just like eats for breakfast. Like, he can still do that. But then by going off the ball, being a low man helper, being a kind of team defender, that's how you get to like the Giannis Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. Like that's how those guys won Defensive Player of the Year, by being a helper. And just whenever you put Jaren Jackson in the post against like, a really good post player, he's not that great. If you put Giannis in ball screen action at point of attack all night, he's not, the best point of attack defender in the league. But where those guys kind of win defensively is that they're so good as a helper, and they're so good at reading possessions and kind of flying around and doing things. And I think Jaden can be in that category of defender. So I'm excited to see more of that.
Yep, and the just numbers, at least for him being a rim protector as well, have always backed up that he's just really good at that. So yeah, just having him be everywhere on the court, I'm all for it. So next up, Rudy Gobert, someone that, I mean, if we're doing stock up or whatever, Rudy Gobert's stock may have just dropped a little bit just because he still can't catch a damn, he's putting out all these videos in the off season. It's just like he's catching passes, he's hitting threes, half court shots, whatever, the whole thing. But he's still the same player on offense. He's 33 years old. He's not going to change on the offensive end. And at this point, it just becomes, is he going to be losing a step or 2 or 5 steps on defense this year? Hopefully not. He didn't play any basketball in the summer.
So, and I think he's looked pretty good defensively throughout.
I'm not really concerned about it. I'm just saying, like, the offensive leap we were maybe hoping for isn't coming at age 33.
Yeah, like he's not. If anything, if I'm looking at this preseason, I thought he's looked. Again, I don't think these preseason games mean anything particularly. So, but if you're looking at offense versus defense, I think he's looked better than he did last season defensively, and worse offensively. So, Gobert's always going to be the player of two extremes. He's always going to be good defensively. He's always going to be bad offensively. And you just kind of live with it. He's a little bit like Jaden in that case, like not in the same way, but that he's going to get his 30 minutes, 33 minutes, whatever.
He did have 33 last year, so I guess
that feels a little high, but it also depends on how they can manage. Like the non-Gobert defense was really bad last season. So if they're better with Randall and Nas on the floor together, then I think they would like to get Gobert down to like 30 or 31. But there are games where it just feels like there are games where you can't take him off the floor sometimes because of the defense, because it just craters so badly. And then there's other games where it feels like you need him off the floor because you need offense. So I would say that maybe drops to,
31 or 32?
31, 30. Yeah, 31. I still 30 feels low just because I know Finch is going to lean on him in these games where the defense is kind of going haywire. So, and I understand that and agree with that. So
for sure. And then when you look at the bench here, there's not unless you want to put Baron J in here, but there's not exactly guys past Nas Reed that are able to step up and help.
It's all going to be about how can they kind of tinker with that scheme in the second, or the non-Gobert second unit. And how can these guys, like, I like the way they've kind of been more switch heavy. I think Julius has played really well defending switches in preseason. Nas not so much, but I think that if that lineup holds up better, you could see Gobert kind of get down to 30 in the regular season. And if it doesn't, it'll probably be at 33 again.
Yeah, definitely one of the more intriguing players just because they got to play him, but how much has he lost? Speaking of that exact same concept, Mike Conley, they're going to play him, but how much has he lost? We'll see. How much did the injury affect him last year? We'll see. But he played 25 minutes last year. I mean, how much can we really decrease that right off the bat here? 25 to 22?
Yeah. I mean, this is where it gets into the logic of the kind of game we're playing here.
Yeah.
Is this what Chris Finch is going to do? Because all of these, I think we all agree with. Like us and Finch would agree on Ant, Jaden, Randall, Gobert. Like I think we would be aligned there. Me and Chris Finch would not be aligned on how often Mike Conley should play. Like I think he should play 10 to 15. I don't think he adds that much to this team. Like, and this is probably, I don't want to be hot takey because it's not how I analyze the game, but like it kind of feels hot takey to be like, let's take 15 minutes off him per night. But I just don't think he's very good anymore. I don't think he adds enough. I think he and this. I mean, I love Mike Conley. I feel like I need to state that every time. Mike Conley is
You're
awesome.
right.
What he's done for this team is like borderline legendary to help them to get to the next level. And I think he's still a really great backup point guard, like a lot of 38-year-olds are who are still playing. Like I think Chris Paul is one of the greatest point guards of all time, but I wouldn't want him starting on this team. Like I don't. I feel like I was kind of talking with a few people about this on Twitter yesterday. Maybe I think you're sitting on the fence as an identity and I think Mike Conley is the foundation of that fence sitting. Like you can't be a really fast team with Mike Conley. You can't be a really great defense. A big, strong, switchable defense. Like you're not going to be, like what? Because that's my biggest problem with this team right now is I don't know what their identity is. Like I look at the Pacers and they're fast. I look at Boston and they shoot a lot of threes. I look at OKC, they force turnovers. Like this team, I think their identity is that they're good at a lot of things and great at kind of no things. And that's still enough to be a really good team. If you're good at a lot of things, you will be a really good team. But eventually you are going to play a team like OKC, like Dallas, who were really big 2 years ago and had Luka. But their identity was that they were huge. They had the two centers. They had PJ Washington.
If you ask Finch, what would he tell you the identity is? Like playing smart defense, right? Like
defense. It would be defense, but then they're not going to play Jalen Clark.
I can't wait to get to him because you're right.
And I think if you want to be like a big, strong, physical 2 years ago defense, I would start Terrence Shannon Jr. I don't think he's a better defender. I actually think Mike Conley's still a good defender. I think it's his best trait in right now, but he's not switchable. He will get isolated on players. Like you can't run this huge physical defense when your point guard's 6 foot, and you don't have Cat out there playing the 4 who's 7 foot, So I think Conley gives you the ability to do all of these identities a little bit. That's what I mean by fence sitting. I'm not saying that you can't be a good team with Mike Conley starting. I'm just saying you can't lean into anything fully because I think he doesn't give you the ability to lean into anything enough. And that's a hill that I'm kind of dying on right now because I think the coaching staff disagrees. I think a lot of the fan base probably disagrees.
He's the worst inside scorer, like inside the arc, like genuinely, not even exaggerating. He's the worst.
In the NBA.
Yeah, he can't, and he was horrible in the playoffs, like just atrocious.
Yeah.
So
and he's a great 3-point shooter. I think he's a good chase defender and just a smart defender. I don't think he gets beaten defensively the same way that Dillingham does or even Ant does sometimes. I think he mainly gets beaten defensively because he's small and that's not really his fault. But and again, I know that the argument against this would be, well, you need a point guard. I'm not going to get back into this. I just don't think traditional point guards are that important anymore.
Especially on this team.
Yeah, and I think if Ant and Julius have the ball for 78% of possessions, I don't really care that Conley can dribble the ball up and hand it to Ant in half court. I don't think that's an issue, to be honest. But so that's my rant. But getting back to this, where what is that? Are we going on my?
I think we gotta find. I think we go in the middle somewhere, 18 to 20.
I think
because we can't do 10.
No, we can't do 10, and it'll never be 10. So it is kind of pointless to say.
I almost think we put 20 because he was at 25 last year, so a 5-minute decrease. I think it's a balance between you
and that feels
Finch.
Right. Because Finch is going to play him, but there's no way. I do think that Finch is smarter than me, So,
he doesn't have a podcast, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, I do think he's old, Mike, So, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more. I say this about a lot of players because it's an interesting team, but one of the more interesting players out there. I guess we can move on to someone who is fairly consistent in their role, Naz Reid. Then last year, I guess I could pull this up. I had everyone else, but Naz Reid, he played 27 and a half minutes last year. So interesting. And now he's getting paid a lot more money. He's still the 6th man. It's hard to move him up anywhere past 28, though, isn't it? So I almost want to pencil him in back at 28 minutes. Do you see 30 in this season?
No, I think 28 is probably right because it is the 27 that he played last season kind of encompassed the what was it like a month maybe that he started and
True.
played big
Okay, good
and
point.
played
Yep.
big starter minutes too. Like there were games where he played 40 minutes,
Yeah, that's a good point.
in that stretch. So I think you bake some of that in that someone's going to miss time, Gobert or Randall, and that he probably might get a little bit of a bump just with the contract and with them trying to feature him maybe a little more. So I think 28 feels right.
Yeah, and I don't even have a ton to say about Nas. I mean, we know what we're getting out of him. Offensive spark plug off the bench, and defensively, he's been solid with Rudy, but when Rudy's not on the court, it's just another season of what's that going to look like. Every year we kind of ask the same question, and every year we get pretty similar results, but
Mhm.
the continuity is a thing here. Does that matter at all on the defensive end? Does it decrease without Nikhil helping him out? Very curious. Yeah, but Nas Reed, pencil him in for 28, and one of the players we're going to be probably watching the most closely just to see what his role looks like as the season goes on.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, I can't in my head. I can't imagine Nas, like them asking Nas to do more anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's always to me been like
unless
if
he's
you
a
gave,
starter, like yeah.
yeah, if you gave him 36 minutes a night, I think he'd do the same things, but it would be more of it, obviously. So I think if he's getting 28 minutes a night, you're going to get 15 points a game, maybe, you know, 13 to 15. He's going to shoot a lot of threes. Um, that doesn't mean there's not things he can work on. I
Oh
hope
yeah.
that he turns it over less on the drives. Obviously, like we said, I hope he's better defensively, especially if they are going to kind of switch a lot in those non-Rudy minutes. But I don't think that I'm looking at Nas thinking, this is the year that he adds a mid range or something like that,
No.
like we talked about with Ant. Like it's just like we know what Nas is going to give you: points in the paint, points from three, um, spark plug, the kind of guy who can hit 4 threes in a quarter, um, which is a really good player to have off your bench, obviously.
Yeah, and Nas, he's consistent. Consistent in his role, consistent in his play overall, consistent in that it will go up and down at times, but yeah,
Yeah,
consistent in his inconsistency, I guess if that makes sense.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, Dante DiVincenzo is someone who's next, and Dante, I mean, I think I'm higher on him than like everyone else in the fan base. People hate Dante, man. I mean, I get it. He had a tough playoffs and not the best first year, but I don't know. I don't know if you're familiar with the segment of that Dane Moore did recently. It was called like Bold Predictions. It was pretty
yes.
creative, but um,
I've heard of that one
no,
before.
I work with them. I can make fun, but yeah, mine would be something like Dante starts more games than Conley and Devin, or than Conley and Dillingham combined, maybe. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited for his season. I mean, you know what he's like Nas in that again with a lot of these bench players. You know what they're gonna bring to you. He's gonna shoot the three.
Yeah,
You don't really want to see him dribble the ball more than maybe twice when he has it.
yeah.
I think he can fly around really well defensively. He had a few stretches last season where he would just cause chaos on that end. I'd like to see more from him there, but overall, I mean, he doesn't replace Nikhil. He was here last year, but like they're gonna need more from him on the defensive end and just more from him as a offensive spark plug, even because he was kind of a letdown last year. I mean, the fan base is kind of turning on him, but at the same time, when the trade was made, a lot of it was like Dante's the big piece here secretly. Nobody
Mhm.
knows it, but Dante's actually the big get. And at this point, we're like, how does he fit in as the seventh guy? So I expect him to take a leap and potentially be a starter few weeks, months into the season. So very excited for him. He could also fall apart and just not shoot the ball well, and I could be completely wrong. But I'm high on Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about Dante. Like, I like Dante as well. I just don't know what to think about kind of what season we're going to get. I might just be in wait and see mode with him. Like, I don't think his floor is like not in the rotation or like we
Yeah,
can't play Dante. Like, he's a really good 3-point shooter. He's the best movement 3-point shooter in the team by far. I would say he's the best 3-point shooter in the team by far. Or not by far maybe, but like in terms of catch and shoot, kind of the ability to find off ball 3-point shots. Like, I think Mike
I know what you mean.
had a better percentage. Obviously, Ant is better on the ball, but like,
it's just like what he does. Like, and
yeah,
he's
Dante,
really
like,
good at it.
yeah,
He shot
like,
40% last year.
yeah, and in a bad season, in what
Yeah.
felt like he had multiple bad stretches of shooting. So,
Yep.
I guess in terms of role, yeah, that's where I'm just waiting to see. Like, is he going to be still in that role where he's kind of like the pseudo point guard at times? Is he going to get more minutes in place of Mike? Is he, or they are going to lean more into different options? But yeah, I like Dante. I just think that I don't have a solidified take on his season coming up. I just want to see what happens,
Do
really.
you know how many minutes he played last year?
I
I
do
was
just
kind of shocked.
it's in front of me.
I was
Yeah.
gonna quiz you, but I was kind of shocked. I would have guessed a little bit less, but he played 26. I guess
Yeah.
that
And
lines
I
up.
think I mean, it's easy to forget, but because he started so badly and ended so
Yeah.
badly, that he was really, really good in the middle of the season before his injury. And like after that Knicks game, I remember where he was playing garbage time in Madison Square Garden,
Man.
where he just had his best season ever. From that moment on until his injury, he was like easily one of the best players on the team. And then after the injury to the end of the season, he was easily one of the best players on the team. That's kind of hidden by the bookends of
Yep.
his terrible start and his terrible finish, but he was awesome in that stretch. So can you get
Is it
more of that?
is
Like,
it
I don't
26
think.
again? I
See, I
mean,
don't
especially
know.
with my take of like he's gonna be a starter.
Because
Like,
I think someone like they want to get at least two of these young guys minutes.
yeah.
So, like, is Dante going to play a little less? Let's put him at 25, and then
Okay.
we'll keep
We can work
him.
on it.
Yeah,
We got 36 minutes to play with, so
we
it
might
is
have to do
240
that.
total, right? Like I'm correct on that. That
Yeah.
should be it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, my take going back, I'm just going to get on my soapbox one more time, is that
Go for it.
when you say you can't play 10 players, if the 37-year-old point guard who's not very good anymore played minutes that befit that title, you can easily get to 10 because teams around the league get to 10 and teams around the league also have good bench players. Like, I just think it's
Right. They have
silly.
too many good players, man. You can't
Yeah,
play all of them,
I just
dude.
think it's silly because OKC do it and they have like
They get
Alex
up to
Caruso.
11. Dude. Like,
Yeah, Alex Caruso and like, guys coming off the bench who are better than Minnesota's players. Like, it's just a fact. So I do think that it is weird that you can't like right now we have 12 minutes left for three guys. Like, yeah, like those three guys can get 12 minutes each, and that's
oh yeah, I was like, no, we have 36.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
but
okay.
you know what I mean. Like we've got 12 there
Yeah,
for
yeah,
all
yeah,
three of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
I don't see why that can't be the rotation if they want to get to 10. Now they might want to get Terrence Shannon Jr. 18 minutes, and then it changes it. But to me, I think the four guys are like maybe you add Dante in there as well. But to me, there's 4 or 5 guys with Dante that their minutes can be moved around here.
Well, let's just touch on kind of Clark and Dillingham as a duo here. I want you to tell me, is this anything at all? So in the games, in the preseason games here, where it was kind of everyone playing, Dillingham played 22 minutes, 22 minutes, 21 minutes, 23 minutes. Clark played 15 minutes. He had one DNP CD. Was he dealing with an injury? Do you remember?
What game was that?
I don't remember. I just
I
wrote
think
down
because
the minutes.
he had the neck spasms after
Okay.
that clash with Delon Wright, so
Okay, right.
he did miss games through injury. That I think there was one that they didn't really specify that.
The only
Like he
ones
was,
missing from that game were him and Conley, so it wasn't like it was sitting rotation players. So I was like, must have been something.
I think he might have been injured in that game.
But then in the other, yeah, he had 8 minutes and then a 20-minute game. But overall, he played just consistently less than Dillingham. Do you see, as we enter the season, Dillingham getting more minutes than Jalen Clark?
Yeah, I do. I think I think more from Finch perspective. I think that's what he has signaled to us so far, is that like
Yeah, I mean,
when he
man.
talks,
Dude,
I
it
feel like
sounds like
he likes.
pulling teeth every time you're
Yeah,
talking to him
yeah.
about like
When he
Rob
talks, I feel
Dillingham.
like
He
he
hates
likes
it.
Clark and Shannon more. But when he plays, I mean Shannon. I think Shannon's separate here. He's going to play.
Yep.
I think
Agreed.
you could probably give Terrence Shannon Jr. 15 minutes right now
Yep,
at
let's do
least,
it.
and you know what I mean. Like,
Agreed.
I think it should be and will be more than that by the end of the season. But with Dillingham, I mean, I still feel like there's a mandate there. I think that he's been told that Dillingham needs to play.
I completely agree. Yep.
And I agree with that. I think if you're not going to play him, if you still, I think I said this last time, if the organization trusts that he's going to be the player they hope him to be, or they still think that he's a prospect that they want to develop, then he needs to play, and he needs to play badly, and he needs to play well, and he needs to play, middling and mediocre, and you just have to deal with it. You can't not play. You can't play him 15 minutes on opening night, not play him at all the next game because he went 0-5. Like that's just not the way you develop players. And if it is the way that they think it is, then they're dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think that no player has ever developed like that. So you either play him or you don't. And I don't care if they don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here saying like play Rob Dillingham. I'm saying if you are committed to him,
yes,
then play him. If you're not, I'm okay with that too, because I'm happy to give those minutes to Jalen Clark. But
yeah,
I think you need to pick it. You do need to pick a lane, and I understand that some nights, like I don't mind if some nights Dillingham plays one stint in the first half, and then you think, you know what, I think we need Jalen Clark. But I think that needs to be the outlier. I don't think it can be every second game Dillingham doesn't play. You just need you need to let him. We saw in the preseason, he had one good game against the Chinese team, and I think every game after that was good. He was okay today. He was, he had too many turnovers. He played Edgecombe. BJ Edgecombe is going to be really good, but he was still pretty good. He was great the game before that. He was good the game up before that. So, yeah, I think they do need to make a decision here. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of happy either way.
Yeah, it's so strange, man. Like my other, I guess, take or bold prediction or whatever. It's almost just like they should have just moved him. Like they seem so uncommitted to, at least the coaching staff, or Finch seems so like, I really don't think he wants to play Rob Dillingham, man. Like,
yeah. Well,
at
I think
all.
if Kevin Durant played for the Wolves right now, Rob Dillingham wouldn't. And they wanted Kevin Durant. I don't think I'm breaking any news here to say that Rob Dillingham would have been in the KD trade 100%.
Yeah. Damn, what a reality.
Yeah, so I don't think so. That's not saying the front office isn't committed to him, because I think that they would move some other
it's
players.
just Kevin Durant.
But again, I just think. I mean, if it was up to me, Conley would play 12 minutes a game, and then you'd be able to get all these guys in the rotation, because I just don't think that's a hard thing or a controversial thing to do, is to do that. But since they're not going to do that, I think they're going to play Dillingham to start the season, because I think they know that Clark, they can keep him kind of they can keep him engaged, and he's the kind of player who can not play for the first 20 games, and then in game 21 come in and give you exactly what he always does.
I agree.
I don't think Dillingham is that kind of player, and it's not even really a knock on him. He's a ball dominant player. And I think ball dominant players.
I really struggle to see it with him, with the size, and just he whenever they play a team, or in the preseason where it's just players that are at his skill level or worse, he dominates. But when it's when it's the NBA and it's a bigger team, and it's going to happen a lot where the matchup just doesn't favor him, and do they still? Because it's hard to just, with Dillingham, you can't just play him 15 minutes one night, then 2 DNPs, and then 12 minutes another night, and then a DNP 18. You got to find a role for him, or just don't at all. It's like what you're saying exactly, but it's tough.
And it's a bit the same. I mean, I know Jace Frederick said it, which I agree with. That if you want to be this defensive identity, then Jalen Clark should play, and I think that's a great point. But if you want to be fast, and if you want to have more movement in the half court, and be a team that kind of gets up and down the floor, and that just plays even in their half court offense with more pace, then Dillingham should play. Once again, I go back to the point that the player who doesn't do either of those things is Mike Conley. And he does other things as well. You know what I mean? He's safe. He's the safe option.
He's the safest option.
You can't lean into speed or defense with Conley, which you can lean into speed with Rob. You can lean into defense with Jalen. You can lean into kind of a little bit more of both with Terrence. But Conley, those guys come with more risk. There's obviously more risk with Rob. There's more risk with Jalen, because what if he shoots 17% from 3 for a month? There's even more risk with TJ, because We just haven't seen it consistently yet. Whereas you know what you're going to get from Conley, night in, night out. I don't think it didn't. I think it's a risk, like, as a guy whose job's not on the line, like Finch,
Yeah.
who's not coaching for a paycheck. It's easy for me to say, more risk means more reward. Whereas he's kind of the opposite. But yeah, I think if we're giving these, so what do we have? 21 minutes.
21 minutes.
I would give 5 more to Shannon, and I would give the rest to Rob.
Ooh, okay. And then Jalen Clark, you're
And I want and
out of here. I mean, we're on the same page that like we don't
I just made a
love
video
it.
that I just made a video that I think Jalen Clark should play. Like, and I agree. Like I've been saying, I think all of them can play. But if you gave me, if I had to choose between Rob and Jalen, I think I might even take Jalen just because, like, I think they need another defender. But I think they're committed to Rob. Like, if they are committed to Rob, I think they need to commit to Rob. So,
I mean, the best, I don't know the best, but like maybe I don't even know if likely, but a possible outcome is that we don't know what we're going to get from Mike Conley every night, and he's taken an even larger step back than we know. And all of a sudden, they are just playing Rob and Jalen because they're obviously the better players at this point. I don't know if that's likely or
Mike's gonna miss what, 20 games? Like, you'd hope.
Yeah, that's true. That's
you hope
point
that
as
some
well.
of them, at least 10 of them are from rest, and then you bake in 10 games of bumps and bruises along the way. So those nights, Rob might play 20, and Jalen might play 15, and Dante might play 35, or like. You can get all these minutes up with those Mike Conley absences, and with absences from everyone. Like, Dante missed.
I mean, Jaden
what,
might
20?
break his leg or something. Not to put
That'd
that
be
in there.
tempting fate. Dante missed 20 games last season, so that would have been, that's the time for Rob. It's the time for Jalen. Like, so these guys are going to get minutes. Like, I do think that sometimes we get a little bit, and me especially, get obsessive over this, and we kind of assume full health, whereas in reality, guys miss so many games. Like last season, this team was very, very healthy, and even then, they still had DiVincenzo missed 20 games. Like Conley missed 11 games last season, and it felt like he was, abnormally healthy for a guy his age. So,
True.
Yeah, but I think, like we said, this was our way not to over try and focus on the minutes, but more to touch on all of these guys and what they've done in the preseason. I'm higher on Rob's preseason than you are. I think he was bad in one game.
That's fair.
And really bad in that
I
game.
just need to see it in the regular season consistently.
Yeah, and he needs to do certain things for it to work. Like,
Yep.
he needs to shoot threes. He needs to make threes. I think that he feels gun shy and just not confident in his 3-point shot and missing 3-point shots, which obviously ties into that. But if he's going to be a good or really good player, he's going to have to make a high percentage of his threes. And he's going to have to shoot pull-up threes, and he's going to have to shoot floaters. To me, it's the scoring. Like, that's I don't mind the turnovers as much. I think that, again, low turnover, not risky, play safe. Like, it's helpful in a way, but like, I don't want Tyus Jones on my team. Like, I would rather guys turn the ball.
Should we talk about Brogdon?
Yeah. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to my dog, Malcolm. I want guys who try things, because I think good teams have players who try things, but obviously that needs to be within reason with Rob. I just think he needs to be able to put the ball in the bucket. I think he's a great passer. Like, every time I've ever seen him play, he's been a great passer. He had 7. Well, I don't have this game updated, but he was at 6.5 assists to 2 turnovers in the preseason. He had 6 and 5 in that game, so that's going to get worse.
My whole thing is, like, I agree with everything you're saying. They need to try something. They need to let him be bad. I just don't think they're going to. So I'm like, what are we? Like,
yeah, I think it's a real Tim Conley versus Chris Finch.
Yeah, like, I just don't see any way Finch watches him be bad and is like, okay, we'll keep playing him 15 minutes a night. Like,
yeah, and I get it. Like, I get that completely. Like, like, I kind of think, like, we say this now, but I'm gonna be watching game 1 and be like, oh my god, Rob. Like, if he turns it over 3 times in a row in the third quarter, and the Blazers open up a 14-point lead, we're all going to sit there and say, oh my god, like, I don't want to watch 82 games of this.
Yep.
But if that means that, in game 60, he has 28 points off the bench in a game that you win, that's the risk reward that they're trying to balance, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you get that risk reward from Clark, but I know that you get instant impact from Clark. I know that you can trust him
You
to
know
do
what you're
his
getting
job.
from him. He's
Yeah,
safer and probably
so
a little bit better at this point.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go with it. If you told me we're taking Rob 16 minutes and giving them all to Clark, I wouldn't argue with you. But
I'd say you're
I
going to win
think
a few more games then starting off.
yeah. But I'd also say maybe in 2 years you might be worse.
Yep.
And
True.
that's been the issue
And
all along.
unfortunately, they're
So
also in a window where they're trying for a championship. It's such a weird
exactly,
thing.
yeah,
They're
exactly.
not
And
the
I,
Blazers.
and neither of them are going to play in the playoffs. Maybe
Yeah.
Clark, but I don't think when it gets down to, if they're in a Western Conference Finals series, I don't think either of those guys are going to be in the rotation. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a touchy subject as people are very invested on both sides. I'm a little bit just ready to watch these guys play. I want these
Right.
guys to have competition. I want Rob to feel Jalen Clark breathing down the back of his neck.
Me too.
And vice versa, because that should if it will either make them play better or it will prove to be kind of the pressure that crushes them, and that gives you that gives you information as well if that's what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. This rotation is something that we've debated all offseason. Something Finch has said we'll go 10, 9, 8. He's said a few different things. So very curious to see what it looks like when we really get down to it. There will be injuries, but just a projection of what happens here. Anyways, that's the entire team. Initially, we were going to do stock up, stock down, but we just built a rotation and it works. And that's just how
Yeah,
we roll around here.
I think it felt
It
felt
felt
stock.
very smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt stock up, stock downy. We kind of
Yeah.
know we had our say on all players, but preseason sucks. Let's just
Yeah. I
say that
don't have
again.
any.
That it's
Yep.
awful, and I'm sick of it, and I want it to be over so I can actually, because if Rob or someone else has 3 bad preseason games, I'm kind of just like, oh,
I don't care, dude. I literally
But then
everything
if he's terrible for the first 2 weeks, at least we can talk about that.
because they count. Yeah, and the Jaden, he's probably not even trying that hard.
Yeah, I
Whatever.
feel and even Ant, I feel I don't
How
think
can you
Ant is
can you get
trying
it in
that.
your mind to I don't you're about to play 82 and then a full month of playoffs
Mhm.
you don't care about this.
And I think people on the couch like us like to sit there and say, they should be trying hard every single game. But it's dude, these guys have a lot. They have
Yeah.
82 games of mental kind of endurance to go through. This is literally about getting their legs under them
Yep.
and getting some, team scheme, things together. So no team cares about preseason.
No, I mean
Some
the
teams care a
Celtics
little
coach
more.
Udoka literally just he was in a press conference. He's like, I hate preseason. I wish it was
Yeah.
all just practice. I hate it. So
Yeah.
we're
So
right.
it will be when's their first game? A week from
Wednesday, right? This
we're
is
recording on
Friday night, my
Friday night. Yeah.
time. So
Yeah. Saturday
Saturday,
afternoon.
Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, 4 or 5 days from now.
All right. Yeah. So that's when we can really really talk.
Yes, should be a lot more fun. This was fun, but more fun just because it's games. Anyways, appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you're still here for some reason, thanks. Subscribe, like the thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Do that.
we're getting out of here. Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye.